The stars had always been humanity's home. For centuries, humans had built cities on moons, mined asteroids, and explored planets that no one else dared to touch. Humans were known throughout the galaxy as clever, persistent, and sometimes stubborn. But now, after years of peaceful growth, everything was changing. It began with whispers. Strange reports traveled faster than the speed of light. Some claimed humans had experimented with technology too dangerous to exist outside their control. Others said humans were too independent, too unpredictable, and could not be trusted. Humans themselves had no idea how the rumors started. But the Galactic Council had already decided. In the Grand Council chamber, voices echoed across the hollow dome of the space station. Alien species of all shapes and sizes gathered in clusters, their eyes fixed on the holographic projection of Earth. Human representatives stood quietly, hands folded, trying to stay calm. The council leader, a tall being with shimmering silver skin, spoke. "You have ignored our warnings," it said. "Your experiments threaten the balance of the galaxy. Therefore, the council has decided humans are to be expelled. You may no longer remain in any member system." A heavy silence followed. The humans exchanged worried looks. They had faced disasters before, storms, pirates, even black holes. But exile from the galaxy itself was something entirely new. There would be no familiar trade routes, no safe colonies, no allies to help them. Captain Leona Hayes, the human leader, clenched her fists. She was not a tall woman, nor one to inspire fear with her voice. But she carried a calm determination that spread to her team. "We will survive," she whispered to her deputy, a young officer named Malik. "They may push us out, but they will not break us." Malik nodded, swallowing his fear. "But where will we go, Captain? The nearest unclaimed systems are light years away. And we have families, children." His voice trailed off. The thought of the children, innocent and unaware of politics, made his chest tighten. Leona looked out of the viewing window. Beyond the station's edge, thousands of stars twinkled like scattered diamonds. "We go where the stars take us," she said softly. "We are humans, we adapt. We survive. And adapt they would need to." Within days, the news spread across all human colonies. Panic and fear swirled in the crowded spaceports of Mars, Titan, and Europa. Some wanted to fight, to challenge the Council directly, but most understood the truth. The Council's fleet was too strong. Any open rebellion would end in destruction. The humans had to leave quietly, with whatever ships they could gather. Families packed their lives into cargo pods. Children carried favorite toys and books, pets tucked under blankets. Engineers and scientists worked day and night to prepare the fleet. The fleet was small compared to what the humans once commanded, but it was fast and filled with determination. Each ship carried stories, memories, and hope for the future. As the first fleet of exiled humans left their last friendly system, Captain Leona addressed her crew over the comm system. Her voice was calm, steady, and clear. "People of Earth, Mars, Titan, and every home we have lost, hear me now. We are leaving the galaxy that once welcomed us. We do not know where we will go, but we will go together. We are human, and humanity does not surrender. We carry with us our courage, our intelligence, and our hope. Together we will survive." Cheering and cries of determination echoed across the ships. Even children clutched their parents' hands, feeling the strange excitement that came with leaving the familiar behind. It was frightening, yes, but there was also a spark of adventure. The first few weeks in open space were quiet. Humans drifted through the black void, stars stretching endlessly in every direction. Supplies were limited and every day required careful planning. Food rations were small, water had to be recycled, and oxygen generators ran almost continuously. Engineers worked in zero gravity, fixing engines, strengthening hulls, and recalibrating navigation systems. Humans moved quickly, efficiently, and with purpose. During one long night, Captain Leona walked through the corridors of the flagship Odyssey. The hum of engines and faint chatter of crew members filled the air. She stopped by a small observation deck, looking out at the stars. Her reflection in the glass merged with the distant suns, making her look almost like a ghost among the stars. She thought of Earth, of the blue oceans, green forests, and the warm sun on her face. It seemed a lifetime ago. Her heart ached for home, but she reminded herself that humans were not defined by a place. They were defined by their actions, their courage, and their determination. Meanwhile, on one of the smaller cargo ships, a young boy named Kieran pressed his forehead against the glass of his cabin. His eyes were wide with wonder and fear. "Are we going to find another home?" he asked his mother, her hand resting gently on his shoulder. His mother smiled, though her own eyes glistened with unshed tears. "We will, Kieran. Humans have always found a way. We leave today, but one day we will find a place to stay." The fleet traveled in formation, navigating through asteroid belts, dodging dangerous comets, and evading occasional patrols from other alien species, suspicious of humans' presence. They learned to move quietly, to ration energy, and to rely on each other. For the first time in centuries, humans depended entirely on their own resourcefulness. One incident tested their unity. A small research ship, the Aurora, was damaged by a rogue asteroid. Communications were lost, and for a tense day, the crew feared it was gone forever. Captain Leona ordered a rescue mission, and human pilots executed daring maneuvers, risking collisions to save their fellow humans. When the Aurora was finally secured, cheers erupted throughout the fleet. Humans had learned quickly. Even in exile, they would not abandon one another. Stories began to spread among the fleet, tales of bravery, clever inventions, and survival. Engineers turned old mining drones into scouts. Scientists created new filters to purify water faster, and even children found ways to help by alerting crews to small hazards. These stories, told in quiet corners of the ships, reminded everyone why humans had survived for so long. Because they refused to give up. Weeks turned into months. The fleet traveled further into the uncharted void. Some systems were hostile, with alien species warning them to leave or face destruction. Some were empty, dark, and cold, offering nothing but silence. Still, humans pressed on. Captain Leona stood on the bridge of the Odyssey, staring at a holographic map. Rumors from explorers hinted at a planet far from the usual routes, small, blue, and possibly habitable. She studied the coordinates, hope rising in her chest. It was risky, unknown, but it might be the chance humanity needed. She turned to her officers. "We have one option," she said. "We cannot go back. We cannot fight the Council head-on. But we can move forward. There is a planet distant and unclaimed. We will set course. If it is safe, we stay. If not, we keep moving. But we will survive together." Her officers nodded, determination shining in their eyes. Even in exile, humanity had a spark that could not be extinguished. That night, the fleet glided silently through the stars. Families slept in cramped quarters, dreaming of a new home. Engineers tinkered with machines, making them better, faster, safer. Children imagined worlds full of green forests and blue oceans, and somewhere deep in the void, Captain Leona looked at the stars, knowing that the journey ahead would be dangerous, uncertain, but necessary. The galaxy had turned its back on humanity. They were expelled, labeled as outcasts, forced to leave the homes they had built for generations. But humans did not despair. Humans adapted, humans survived, and somewhere out there, a new world awaited. A place where humanity could prove once again that their courage, ingenuity, and heart could overcome even the darkest challenges of the cosmos. The stars stretched endlessly before them, cold and silent, but inside the fleet of exiled humans, hope burned bright, a flame that no council or alien fleet could ever extinguish. And for the first time since their exile began, humanity moved forward not just with fear, but with purpose, courage, and an unshakable belief that one day they would find a place to call home again. The void of space was vast and silent. Endless black stretched in every direction, speckled with distant stars that seemed both beautiful and indifferent. For the exiled humans, the emptiness was a constant reminder that the galaxy had turned its back on them. There were no trade routes, no familiar colonies, no friends left to offer aid. Every light in the distance was a potential threat, and every silence could hide danger. Captain Leona Hayes watched the stars from the bridge of the flagship Odyssey. Her face was calm, but inside her mind raced. Supplies were limited, engines required constant maintenance, and every small mistake could mean disaster. She had always known humans were resilient, but the void would test them in ways no one had ever imagined. "Captain, we're entering an asteroid belt," Lieutenant Malik reported, his voice steady despite the tension. "Navigation systems suggest heavy concentrations ahead. We'll need to adjust the fleet's formation." Leona nodded. "Divert non-essential ships to safer paths. Scouts, prepare for reconnaissance. Keep the fleet tight. We cannot afford losses here. The asteroid belt was a twisting, chaotic maze of rock and ice, moving slowly yet unpredictably. Even the most advanced sensors could not predict every collision. Pilots gripped their controls tightly, maneuvering through the dense field with skill and courage. Families watched from observation decks, holding hands, praying silently. A sudden alarm rang across the fleet. A medium-sized cargo ship, the Horizon, shuddered violently. Crew members scrambled, their hearts pounding. A large asteroid, smaller than expected but fast-moving, had struck the ship's hull. Warnings blared, and the ship began to drift. "Emergency repair teams, go," Leona commanded. "We won't leave anyone behind." Human engineers, accustomed to crisis, leaped into action. Using magnetized suits and thrusters, they moved outside the ship, welding plates over breaches, rerouting power to stabilize life support. It was dangerous work, but human determination was stronger than fear. Hours later, the Horizon was secured. The crew cheered when they returned, exhausted but alive. Even in such dangerous conditions, humans found ways to adapt and innovate. Scientists converted broken mining drones into mobile sensors, which could scout ahead and warn of hazards. Engineers built improvised shields using empty cargo containers and reinforced hull panels. Children, fascinated by machines, helped in small ways, monitoring displays, handing tools, and alerting crews to minor problems. As days turned into weeks, the fleet learned the patterns of the void. They began to see opportunities as well as dangers. Some uncharted planets appeared barren but contained valuable minerals. Small comets and ice fields provided water when supplies ran low. Humans became experts in using every resource, turning scarcity into advantage. But not all encounters were mechanical. One morning, a strange signal appeared on long-range scanners. It was unlike anything the humans had seen. A faint, pulsing light, moving with purpose, not like an asteroid or natural phenomenon. Could it be an alien ship? Malik asked, eyebrows raised. Leona studied the readings. Unknown, but it doesn't appear hostile, at least not yet. Send a small scouting team. We need to know what we're dealing with. A crew of skilled pilots and scientists boarded a shuttle, heading toward the signal. As they approached, the light revealed itself to be a small probe, covered in strange markings and emitting faint energy pulses. It did not attack. It simply observed, as if studying them. Back on the Odyssey, scientists examined the probe. "It's collecting data," one researcher said. "But the technology is advanced far beyond anything humans have built." Leona frowned. Could it be the Council, watching us from a distance? "No way to tell," Malik replied. "But we should assume it is. They may have expelled us, but they haven't forgotten us." Even with this uncertainty, humans continued their journey. Life aboard the fleet had its own rhythm now. Children attended small classes in converted cargo bays, learning mathematics, science, and history. Adults took shifts to maintain ships, cook meals, and organize navigation. Stories of Earth were shared to keep hope alive. Humans were not only surviving, they were building a community stronger than any single colony had ever known. Months into the journey, the fleet faced its most serious test. A rogue planet drifted unexpectedly into their path, its gravity pulling ships dangerously close. The fleet's engineers had predicted no such occurrence, and panic spread quickly among the crews. "Adjust thrusters! Divert power to stabilizers!" Leona shouted, her voice calm but firm. Ships tilted and turned, engines roaring as humans worked together. Pilots risked close maneuvers, barely avoiding collision with the planet's surface. Supplies rattled in cargo bays, alarms blared, and children clutched their parents. After tense hours, the fleet emerged on the other side, battered but intact. The incident reminded everyone that even in exile, the galaxy was alive and unpredictable. Humans could survive storms, asteroids, and mechanical failure, but the universe itself tested their courage and ingenuity constantly. Despite the danger, moments of beauty and peace appeared. Humans found small worlds with gentle blue seas, wide plains, and towering mountains. They marveled at sunsets on alien planets, the light bending in ways no human had ever seen on Earth. Children ran across open fields of strange grass, laughing, forgetting for a moment the fear of exile. Captain Leona often walked among them, observing quietly. She noticed how humans adapted not only to survive but to live. "We are more than explorers," she told Malik one evening. "We are a people who find light in darkness, joy in struggle, and hope in despair. That is what makes us human." Even in isolation, humans maintained curiosity. A small group of scientists began experimenting with new forms of energy. Using scrap from old ships, they built devices that could convert ambient cosmic radiation into power. They discovered ways to purify water faster, grow food in small pods, and repair damaged ships using recycled materials. Each success fueled morale, proving that humans could thrive, not just survive. Rumors circulated among the fleet of a distant planet on the edge of explored space. It was described as small, blue, and possibly habitable. No human had seen it directly, but enough data suggested it could be a new home. Hope spread quietly among families. Humans began dreaming again, imagining a place to rest, to rebuild, and to live freely. But not all humans were content. Some worried the planet would be another trap, a danger disguised as salvation. Debates broke out in communal areas, whether to continue exploring, risk landing, or seek a safer path elsewhere. Leona listened, to every voice weighing the fear against the spark of hope. In the end, she decided, humans would approach, but cautiously. They would not rush, but neither would they give up their chance at a new beginning. At night, the fleet glided through the stars, quiet except for the hum of engines. Children slept, dreaming of new worlds. Scientists tinkered in labs trying to improve life aboard ships. Engineers maintained every system, ensuring nothing failed. And Captain Leona, standing on the bridge of the Odyssey, stared at the distant stars, imagining the planet that might become humanity's new home. The void was dangerous, it tested humans every day. But humans had proven before that no challenge was too great. They adapted, innovated, and faced fear with courage. And somewhere far ahead, a blue world waited, offering a chance to prove once again that humanity could survive, thrive, and create a home even in the darkest corners of the galaxy. For now, humans continued their journey. Each day brought new challenges, new discoveries, and new lessons. The exiled fleet was small but determined. They had lost the galaxy's acceptance, but they had not lost their spirit. They were humans, and humans had always found a way. And as the fleet moved forward, guided by hope and human ingenuity, the stars seemed to shimmer brighter, as if acknowledging the small, defiant light of humanity in the vast, cold void. After months of drifting through uncharted space, the fleet of exiled humans finally saw it, a small blue planet spinning slowly in the vast darkness. From orbit, it looked almost like a jewel, glowing softly against the black void. The sight made hearts lift across the fleet. For the first time since exile, there was hope. Captain Leona Hayes stood on the bridge of the flagship Odyssey, staring at the planet. Her hands rested on the railing as she spoke to the crew. "There it is. Earth, our home, or at least a new chance for one. We don't know what we'll find, but this is our opportunity." Her words spread through the fleet like fire. Families gathered at observation decks. Children pressed faces against glass, and adults whispered prayers of thanks. After all they had endured, the Council's betrayal, endless danger, and the loneliness of exile, humans were finally approaching a place that might accept them. The first step was careful observation. Scientists scanned the atmosphere, oceans, and land. The planet had breathable air, stable weather, and vast forests, rivers, and oceans. Satellites detected no major signs of civilization beyond small cities and scattered settlements. Earth had survived the centuries on its own, developing quietly while humans elsewhere had spread across the stars. Lieutenant Malik turned to Leona. "It's habitable. No signs of war or hostile defenses, but we should approach carefully. We don't know the population's response." Leona nodded. "Prepare a small landing team. We need diplomacy, not force. We are guests here, whether they welcome us or not." The first ships descended slowly into the atmosphere. Clouds swirled around them, sunlight glinting off the hulls. Families watched from their observation decks, holding hands, hearts pounding with anticipation. The fleet's engineers had done everything they could to make the landing smooth, but even a small miscalculation could mean disaster. On the ground, Earth's inhabitants noticed the descending ships. People stepped into streets, gazing upward in wonder and fear. The first contact was tense. Centuries of isolation and independent development had made Earth cautious of outsiders. Military patrols readied defensive systems, while scientists and diplomats tried to understand the ship's purpose. The landing team, led by Captain Leona, touched down in a wide, open field near a small settlement. Soldiers of Earth watched silently, weapons lowered but alert. Children and families peeked from behind buildings, curiosity mixed with caution. Leona stepped forward, raising her hands in a gesture of peace. "We come in peace," she said. "We are humans like you. Our colonies were expelled from the galaxy, and we seek a place to live. We mean no harm." The Earth humans looked at one another, uncertain. One of their leaders, a woman named Talia, stepped forward. She was older than Leona but carried a calm authority. "You claim to be human. How do we know you come with honest intentions?" Leona met her gaze steadily. "Because we share your blood, your history, and your values. We survived exile not by harming others, but by helping one another. We seek only shelter, community, and a chance to rebuild." After tense deliberation, Talia lowered her arms. "Very well. We will offer temporary shelter, but understand this: Earth will not tolerate lawlessness. You will follow our guidance, and in return, you are welcome here." Relief washed over the landing team. Families cheered quietly, tears streaming down faces that had known fear for far too long. Children ran into open fields, laughing at the fresh air, the soft grass, and the sunlight that reminded them of Earth stories passed down by parents and grandparents. Over the following days, humans from the fleet began settling. Ships were unloaded, cargo distributed, and temporary housing established. Engineers worked with Earth's residents, combining old technology with new, creating systems to provide water, food, and energy for the newcomers. Humans were not passive guests. They adapted quickly, proving their worth through creativity and effort. In one notable scene, a group of children discovered a small stream. They began building a simple water filtration system using recycled ship parts, surprising local scientists with their ingenuity. Adults worked alongside them, inventing small farming pods to grow fresh vegetables, while engineers repaired and upgraded Earth's energy grids using materials from the fleet. Trust slowly grew between the newcomers and the native humans. Families shared meals, stories, and traditions. Music, art, and even sports became bridges between the two groups. Humans who had spent their lives in exile began to feel a sense of belonging they had long forgotten. Captain Leona often walked through the temporary settlements, observing the interactions. She smiled quietly at the children running freely, at families helping one another, and at the quiet determination in the eyes of the adults. Humanity had faced exile, but here on Earth they had the chance to thrive again. Yet not everything was calm. Some Earth humans remained cautious, wary of newcomers whose technology and experiences were so different. They questioned whether the exiles had truly left the galaxy behind, or if the Council would arrive with a fleet to enforce their exile. Tension simmered beneath the surface, reminding everyone that peace was never guaranteed. One evening, while Leona reviewed fleet data, a strange signal appeared. Unlike the distant probe they had encountered in the void, this signal was active and intelligent. Its source hovered just beyond Earth's orbit. Scientists scanned it quickly, discovering it was monitoring communications, movement, and energy outputs. Malik frowned. "It looks like the Council is watching. They haven't forgotten us." Leona clenched her jaw. "Then we must prove that humanity can live without conflict. We show them through our actions, not war. Earth will be our shield, but our unity will be our strength." In the days that followed, humans from the fleet worked closely with Earth residents to strengthen their communities. Schools were established, workshops created, and markets opened. Stories of the exile's journey inspired Earth children to learn about engineering, science, and exploration. Families shared experiences, teaching one another how to survive in harsh environments, repair ships, and adapt to unexpected problems. An unexpected visitor brought hope. A small group of scientists from neighboring systems, curious about the exiled humans' journey, arrived at Earth. They came with gifts of knowledge, new techniques for energy efficiency, food production, and medical care. The exiles welcomed them warmly, learning quickly from the shared expertise. Captain Leona held a council meeting aboard the Odyssey. Representatives from both Earth and the exiled fleet gathered to discuss the future. "We have survived exile," she said, her voice strong and calm. "We have reached a world that offers us hope. But hope is not enough. We must work together, combining our skills, knowledge, and courage to build a life worth living. The galaxy may have expelled us, but here, we can prove that humanity thrives not through power but through unity, compassion, and ingenuity." The room erupted in applause. Even Earth's skeptical leaders nodded, impressed by the exiles' determination. Families smiled, children laughed, and a sense of community spread like sunlight after a long, cold night. Over time, the exiled humans adapted to life on Earth. They learned the rhythms of the planet, grew crops suited to its soil, and repaired technology to work in harmony with the environment. Children played freely in open fields. Adults worked tirelessly to create homes, and the fleet's ships were maintained, ready if needed but now part of the new society. Yet, the shadow of the galaxy's council remained. Signals were occasionally detected, probes quietly observing Earth. The exiles knew they could not be completely safe, but they also knew something more powerful than fear or technology existed: humanity itself. Their creativity, courage, and unity had carried them across the void. Now it could protect them on Earth. Captain Leona often walked at night looking at the stars above the new home they had found. She thought of the children sleeping in their beds, the families laughing in fields, and the engineers tinkering with machines. She felt a deep pride, not only for surviving the exile, but for proving that humanity's strength lay in its heart and mind. Earth had welcomed them in when the galaxy had turned its back. And humans, as always, were ready to rise to the challenge. The exiled fleet had finally found a place to rest. But more importantly, they had found a place to live, to grow, and to remind the universe that humanity was not to be underestimated. Exiled or not, humans would survive. Humans would thrive. And somewhere beyond the edge of the galaxy, their story would be remembered not as one of failure, but of courage, ingenuity, and hope. For the first time in years, humans slept peacefully, the soft blue glow of Earth reflecting in their eyes. They had crossed the void, faced danger, and found a home. And tomorrow they would continue to build, explore, and show the galaxy that even in exile, humanity's spirit could shine brighter than any star. Life on Earth had begun to settle into a rhythm. The exiled humans worked side by side with the native residents, building homes, repairing technology, and learning the ways of the planet. Children laughed freely, playing in open fields under bright blue skies. Adults shared knowledge, combining the experiences of generations spent across the stars with the ingenuity and resilience of those who had survived exile. Captain Leona Hayes watched this new society grow with quiet pride. Humanity had found a home again, a place to breathe and create. Yet a shadow lingered beyond Earth's atmosphere. Silent, distant, and unyielding, the galaxy's council had not forgotten them. It began with small signals, probes appearing in orbit, scanning and recording data. At first, humans ignored them, treating them as curiosity rather than threat. But soon reports reached the fleet. Alien ships were moving toward Earth, a fleet far larger and more advanced than anything humans had faced before. The Council intended to enforce their exile, and this time Earth itself was the target. Leona called an emergency meeting aboard the flagship Odyssey. Representatives from Earth's military, scientists, engineers, and fleet officers gathered in the war room. Holograms of the incoming fleet floated above the table, showing hundreds of ships approaching from all directions. "We are outnumbered," Malik said, his voice calm but tense. "They have superior weapons and numbers. A direct attack could destroy us in hours." Leona nodded. "Which is why we won't fight them directly. We will not match them ship for ship, weapon for weapon. We will use our strengths, creativity, intelligence, and unity. That is what makes humans unique, and that is what will save Earth." The room fell silent. Humans and Earth leaders exchanged uncertain glances. Then slowly understanding dawned. This was not about overwhelming force, it was about strategy, improvisation, and courage. Humans had survived exile through those very qualities, and now they would rely on them again. Engineers and scientists worked tirelessly, converting old ships into defensive stations. They scavenged parts, repurposed technology, and created new devices that could confuse or disable enemy sensors. Energy shields were constructed from recycled fleet materials, and small, fast drones were programmed to distract and mislead enemy forces. Humans turned their ingenuity into a weapon far stronger than mere firepower. Meanwhile, on the ground, Earth residents reinforced cities and critical infrastructure. Civilians worked alongside exiles, preparing evacuation routes, supply caches, and safe zones. Children learned to identify warning signals and assist in minor ways, while adults maintained communication systems and coordinated teams. Humanity's strength was clear. Even ordinary citizens became extraordinary in the face of danger. Days passed in tense preparation. Finally, the enemy fleet arrived. Ships appeared on the horizon, black silhouettes against the blue sky of Earth, glowing weapons ready, engines humming with destructive energy. Fear rippled through the population, but Leona's calm presence kept it at bay. "Remember," she said, speaking to both fleet officers and Earth leaders, "they may have numbers, but we have something they cannot understand. Humans never give up. We adapt, we innovate, and we fight together. Trust in each other and we will survive." The first wave of enemy ships advanced. Drones were released, creating confusion and misdirection. Energy shields blinked to life around key installations, forcing the attackers to reroute their fire. Pilots executed daring maneuvers, weaving between enemy ships with speed and precision. Humans relied on strategy, not brute force, and it worked. In one critical moment, a squadron of small, fast vessels launched a daring mission to disable the enemy command ship. Using decoys, electromagnetic pulses, and clever misdirection, they infiltrated the enemy formation. Engineers aboard the command ship of the fleet guided them, providing real-time calculations and adjustments. It was dangerous, but the humans' creativity and teamwork made the impossible possible. On the ground, Earth citizens assisted in defense by maintaining communication networks and guiding ships through complex maneuvers. Children alerted adults to breaches or hazards. Scientists calculated optimal paths for defensive drones, and engineers repaired damage quickly. Everyone contributed, proving that humanity's strength was not in a single hero but in the unity of its people. The enemy fleet struggled against the human defenses. Their attacks were precise but predictable, and humans had anticipated their strategies. One by one, enemy ships were disabled or forced to retreat. The small command squadron reached the flagship and executed a bold maneuver. Using a combination of energy pulses and clever tactics, they disabled the ship's engines and communications, leaving the fleet in confusion. With the command ship neutralized, the remaining enemy vessels retreated. Humans cheered quietly, relief spreading through the fleet and Earth settlements. The battle had been won, not by overwhelming force, but by intelligence, courage, and cooperation. Humanity had survived yet again. After the battle, Captain Leona addressed the people of Earth and the exiled fleet. "We faced a threat greater than ourselves," she said. "But we adapted, we worked together, and we proved that humanity's strength is not measured by weapons alone. It is measured by courage, unity, and the ability to overcome challenges with creativity and heart." Earth's leaders nodded, grateful and impressed. Children listened with wide eyes, learning a lesson that would stay with them forever. Even in the face of impossible odds, humans could prevail through ingenuity and cooperation. In the weeks following the attack, humans worked tirelessly to repair damage and strengthen defenses. Ships were upgraded, cities reinforced, and new strategies developed for potential threats. Scientists studied the enemy technology, learning and adapting it for human use. Engineers created new devices to protect Earth's atmosphere and critical systems. Humanity was no longer just surviving. It was preparing for a future where it could thrive safely. Captain Leona often walked among the people, observing their work. She saw children building small energy drones, adults experimenting with new forms of sustainable power, and families helping one another rebuild homes. Humanity's spirit, she realized, was stronger than any fleet, weapon, or council. It could survive exile, survive battle, and grow even stronger in adversity. One evening, as the sun set over Earth's blue oceans, Leona stood on a hill overlooking the settlements. Children played in the fields, engineers tested new systems, and scientists monitored the skies. For a moment, the universe felt peaceful, yet she knew the galaxy still watched. The Council had not forgiven humanity. Probes remained in orbit, and rumors suggested that new fleets might arrive in the future. But Earth was safe for now, and humans had proven that exile and threats could not destroy them. Leona turned to Malik, who stood beside her. "They may come again," she said quietly. "But we are ready. Humans always find a way, not because we are the strongest, but because we never give up. We work together and we use our minds to solve impossible problems." Malik nodded, watching the children laugh and play. "They will not underestimate us again." The sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over the fields. Humanity's light, courage, ingenuity, and hope shone brighter than ever. Exile had tested them, the void had challenged them, and the Council had threatened them. Yet here they stood, stronger and more united than ever, and Captain Leona knew that this was only the beginning. Humanity would continue to grow, explore, and defend their new home. They would show the galaxy that even in exile, humans could survive, thrive, and rise to any challenge. The stars above twinkled like distant witnesses to humanity's determination. Earth had welcomed them in when the galaxy had turned its back. And humans had shown that they were worthy, not through fear, not through destruction, but through unity, courage, and the unshakable strength of the human spirit. In the end, the exiled fleet had become more than survivors. They had become protectors of their new home, a living testament to humanity's greatest strength, the ability to endure, adapt, and prevail, no matter the odds. The days following the defense of Earth were filled with rebuilding and preparation. Humans, both exiles and Earthborn, worked together to repair structures, improve technology, and strengthen communities. But the shadow of the Galactic Council still loomed. Probes continued to hover near the planet, observing every move. Rumors of new fleets spread quietly among the population. Humanity knew that their victory had bought only time, not peace. Captain Leona Hayes gathered her officers aboard the flagship Odyssey. The war room was alive with discussions, plans, and holographic maps of the galaxy. "We've defended Earth once," she said, "but we cannot rely solely on luck or hope. We must prepare for the possibility that the Council will send another fleet. This time, we need a plan that ensures our survival and proves that humans cannot be defeated by fear or force alone." Lieutenant Malik spoke up. "We can't match them in numbers or firepower, but we can outthink them. We've seen their patterns. They rely on predictable strategies. We can use that against them using Earth's resources, the fleet, and our ingenuity." Leona nodded. "Exactly. We will use every advantage, intelligence, creativity, and the unity of humanity. Every citizen, engineer, and pilot will have a role. Every child learning here will be part of the future we defend. That is our strength." Engineers began modifying ships and equipment. Old drones were converted into autonomous defense units, able to respond faster than any human could. Scientists developed camouflage systems to make ships harder to detect. Energy fields were reinforced and communication networks were upgraded to withstand interference. Humans combined technology from across the stars with Earth's resources, creating systems entirely new and uniquely human. On the ground, Earth residents worked with the exiles to create safe zones, evacuation paths, and emergency shelters. Farmers began growing nutrient-rich crops that could sustain larger populations. Medical teams trained volunteers to handle emergencies, ensuring that everyone had a role in protecting their home. Children learned quickly, turning their curiosity into skill and their energy into preparation. Weeks passed, and humans became more confident in their abilities. They had faced the Council once and survived. Now they were building a planet-wide system that could withstand another attack. Yet despite their focus, tension remained. The first signs of the Council's approach appeared. Distant ships, larger and more numerous than before, moving steadily toward Earth. Leona addressed the people of Earth and the exiled fleet. Her voice was calm, steady, and full of determination. "They may come again," she said, "but we are not the same humans they tried to expel. We have learned, adapted, and grown stronger. We will defend this home, not with fear, but with courage, ingenuity, and unity. We are human, and humanity cannot be broken." The first wave of the enemy fleet entered Earth's orbit. This time it was larger and better coordinated. But humans were ready. The autonomous drones moved like shadows, confusing enemy sensors. Shields rose around key installations, and energy grids diverted power to critical defense systems. Pilots executed complex formations using speed, deception, and intelligence rather than brute force. In the midst of the battle, a squadron of the fastest ships, led by Captain Leona herself, executed a daring plan. Using a combination of cloaked maneuvers and strategically timed energy pulses, they infiltrated the Council's formation. Enemy ships fired blindly, unable to predict the humans' movements. Engineers aboard the flagship guided Leona's squadron, providing real-time calculations and adjustments. Every decision, every maneuver depended on teamwork, intelligence, and trust. Meanwhile, on the ground, Earth residents coordinated emergency efforts. Communications officers tracked enemy movements, guiding ships safely through orbital paths. Scientists and engineers monitored energy fields and repaired any damage instantly. Families helped distribute resources and support, demonstrating that every human, regardless of age or experience, was part of the defense. The turning point came when the infiltration squad reached the Council's command ship. It was heavily armed, but the humans had studied their enemy's technology. Using a combination of energy pulses, hacking, and strategic disruption, they disabled the command ship's engines and communications. The enemy fleet faltered, their formations breaking as confusion spread. Leona's squadron returned safely, celebrated silently among the fleet. Earth's people cheered quietly, knowing that the battle was not over, but the Council's forces were now vulnerable. Humans had won the moment not by sheer power, but by intelligence, courage, and coordination. In the following hours, the remaining Council ships retreated. They had underestimated humanity's ability to adapt, innovate, and fight as a united force. Humans did not destroy them. They had shown strength through cleverness, strategy, and unbreakable spirit. This victory sent a clear message to the galaxy. Humanity, even in exile, could never be underestimated. After the battle, Captain Leona addressed Earth and the fleet once again. "We have faced the impossible," she said. "We survived exile, we crossed the void, we defended our home, and we did it together. Today, humans have proven that our greatest power lies not in technology alone, not in numbers, but in our courage, our unity, and our willingness to never give up." Earth's leaders joined her, offering recognition and praise. They had witnessed humanity's strength firsthand, and they knew that the future of their planet, and perhaps the galaxy, depended on the humans who had been exiled yet persevered. In the weeks after the battle, humans worked to ensure long-term security. The fleet remained in orbit, ready to respond if needed, but also integrating with Earth's communities to provide support and knowledge. Technology was shared, lessons were learned, and a new society began to grow, a society built on cooperation, creativity, and the shared experience of overcoming adversity. Children explored open fields and forests, learning from both Earthborn humans and exiles. Schools taught engineering, science, history, and survival skills. Families shared traditions, stories, and knowledge, blending centuries of experience from across the stars with Earth's natural rhythms. Captain Leona often walked among the people, observing quietly. She saw children building small machines, adults repairing systems, and families creating homes. Humanity's spirit had proven stronger than any Council fleet, any exile, and any challenge. The people of Earth had welcomed them, and in return the humans had become not only survivors but protectors and innovators. The sky, once filled with enemy ships, was now calm. The stars twinkled silently, witnesses to humanity's resilience. Exile had tested humans, but it had also strengthened them. The void had challenged them, yet they had found hope, ingenuity, and unity along the way. The Council had attempted to suppress them, but humans had turned exile into opportunity and adversity into growth. Captain Leona gazed at the horizon, watching children laugh as they ran through open fields. She thought of the journey, the exile, the dangers, the unknown void, and finally Earth. Humanity had faced unimaginable challenges, but it had survived and thrived. The galaxy might still watch, but humanity was no longer afraid. They had learned that courage, intelligence, and unity could overcome even the greatest threats. Malik joined her, standing quietly at her side. "We did it, Captain," he said softly. Leona smiled, her eyes reflecting the sunlight. "We did, but this is only the beginning. Humans will continue to explore, to create, and to defend what we've built. We will not hide. We will not surrender, and we will show the galaxy that humanity's spirit is unstoppable." The exiled fleet had finally found a home, but more importantly, Humans had discovered their true strength, not in ships, weapons, or numbers, but in courage, intelligence, and the power of unity. Earth had welcomed them in when the galaxy had turned its back. And humans had proven that even in exile they could survive, thrive, and rise stronger than ever. The sun set over the oceans, casting long shadows across fields, forests, and cities. Children played, families shared meals, and humans looked up at the stars, knowing that whatever challenges came next, they would face them together. Humanity had endured exile, faced the void, battled the council, and built a future worth living. The galaxy might have tried to expel them, but humans had turned exile into triumph. And in every heart, on every planet, in every city and village, the truth was clear. Humanity's strength lay in its courage, its ingenuity, and its unwavering belief in itself. And as the stars shimmered in the quiet night sky, humans slept peacefully, dreaming not of fear, but of hope, adventure, and the endless possibilities of the future they would create together.